Want some candy?
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass. And I'm all out of bubblegum.
Well, hello, Mr. Fancy Pants.
I hear you looking for candy, man, bitch.
Give me some sugar, baby.
Like scary movies.
Want some candy?
What's up, Candy Killers? Welcome back to another episode of Monster Candy Podcast. And today we have our boy back, Money Mills.
Yay!
And here's always myself, Screaming E from the Memphis Murder Men, and the one and the only Oubliette Sparks from Tsunami Bomb.
It's me.
It is. But before we get into the 2011 found footage film from Michael Goy, it's time to talk a little bit about some horror news. But Oubliette has something to say.
I'll say it after horror news.
Okay, she'll say it after horror news.
I'd rather get into horror news right now.
All right, well, yeah, let's get into it. What do you got?
Okay, so I have one. For those of you who don't know, I am a giant Roald Dahl fan, and I definitely love all of his adult stuff, which has not gotten as much publicity.
I thought you were going to say raw dog. I was like,
Yeah.
golly.
Oh, no.
I was like,
Does anyone
Jesus,
really
Courtney.
like Roald Dahl game?
Warner Brother.
Um,
I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's not it. But I mean, sure. Roald Dahl, who's the author of such books as James and the Giant Peach, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, The Witches, the BFG. For those of you who don't know,
These all
in
sound
case
like
you don't
porno
know.
names now that I got
They do.
Raw Dog in my head.
right? Yeah, James and the Giant Peach, definitely,
Uh-huh.
and the BFG.
BFG.
For sure. Anyways, so this is actually about one of the ones that you've heard of. But for those of you listening, in case you don't know, he actually wrote a bunch of adult short stories, and you can buy the collections. And if you are someone looking for something to read that's finding yourself losing interest or kind of getting like ADD with like getting into a book, you should buy one of these because they're fan-fucking-tastic. Some are only like 5 pages and they're mind-blowingly good.
Nice.
But the horror news portion of this is they are redoing The Witches again.
Ooh.
Now, you guys know they did it with Angelica Houston back in the day, and then Anne Hathaway, I think not that long ago. This is with Ruth Wilson, who has done a lot of stuff, but is someone
Yeah.
who I
She was
think
in
a
The
lot of people.
Affair. She was in
Yeah.
not the Golden Compass, but the TV show of that, which was
Mm-hmm.
his Dark Materials, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was in Luther.
His dark material.
Yeah.
She's much more well known for her TV performances than movies, but she has been in a lot of movies that everyone has seen. But yeah, so their HBO Max is coming out with a television series that's doing The Witches. That's supposed to be one that follows the story more accurately.
Mm.
I've loved both versions. The first one cut out a lot. It was just basically what happened in the hotel. The second one added a little bit more, but this one is actually, I think it might be like a 2-part series, almost like how it was back in the day. So like a 4-hour long sort of thing. This
Right.
one's actually going to do the whole thing, which I loved. I loved that book as a kid. I love it now. There's a lot more dialogue, if you've read it, about like how to spot a witch, how they kind of came up with their like chocolate weird company and what it did and what it ended up being. So I don't know, it could be cool. And she's definitely
Oh yeah, I
She
can see
has that
the
scary,
yeah.
like almost slightly androgynous look sometimes, or
Yeah,
like
she's
very
a little
like
masculine, but
masculinely feminine,
you know,
which I
yeah.
think Angelica Houston does too. Like she
Yeah.
exudes femininity, but she does have like a masculine structure to her. So
Yeah.
that was the one thing with Anne Hathaway. I think she's an amazing actress, but she's not scary to me.
Right, right.
Angelica Houston is bigger. Like she looked so much bigger than life in that, and like had this sort of like creature.
Plus,
presence.
Anne Hathaway didn't do the witch shake.
Oh yeah, the convulsion. Yeah. I mean, Anne Hathaway did great, but she's super teeny tiny. It was very much more kind of Broadway thespian acted, which Angelica Houston is totally
Thespian.
grandiose too, but she has that like commanding presence where, I mean, I remember being terrified of that as a kid, and it was so fucking cool. So I think that Ruth Wilson could pull that off, and I think it would be cool to see it. It's also supposed to be a bit darker than the others, which would be cool because those books, all of them, are much darker than the movies that had come out afterwards, because they were playing more towards the children, and I think this one's going to go more towards the adults. So
wasn't
that's my horror news.
Wasn't Roald Dahl like a fucking double agent secret spy dude also? Like
I mean,
think
I've
he
heard
was.
so much about him. I've heard he was like really anti-Semitic, and then I've heard stuff kind of against that. Yeah, and I heard he was a spy. I would love
what a
if
legend.
they did a biopic, like a biopic on him, because that's accurate. Because I'd like to know the story. Because I kind of every time I say I like him, I get berated
news.
with people messaging me, being like, "You shouldn't like this guy." And, you know, they tell me 10 reasons why.
But also, like, you can't like negate your whole childhood. You know what I mean? Like those books were like quintessential, you know, for
And
our
I'm
age
sorry,
group.
but the farther you go back in history, there's
Yeah,
not
that movie
many
sucks.
Yeah.
people that you could find that didn't do something that aren't acceptable now, and that's kind of where everything grows and changes. And
People are terrible, and
I
people,
don't know, they are.
Society just has
But
to.
also, so is society.
Yeah.
At certain points in time in society, these people were deemed normal. So it's really
Right.
hard to kind of go back and be like, they're fucking assholes. And it's like, okay, well, so were 10 million other people around them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Like,
it's all relative, you know. So people
So
just
I
need
don't
to
know.
fucking deal with it.
and maybe he did some horrible shit. But yeah, I'm one of those assholes that even with music and everything else, I do think at some point you can separate the artist. Now, if you're putting money into their pocket, that's one thing. But
Exactly. Like
Roald
Roald Dahl
Dahl's
ain't
dead.
making
His
no money.
family may be cool. I don't know.
Right.
Yeah. I
But-
mean, unless they're pumping like adrenochrome into his coffin. Or maybe he's alive living. Maybe he's in Long Island. I don't know.
Possibly.
He could still be alive.
chilling with the king.
Now,
Eating
now,
babies.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
Now, if only your buddy from American Horror Story was in this movie.
Did y'all?
Oh,
y'all
Ethan
did that?
or Evan
That's right.
Peterson.
No. Your favorite person from American Horror Story. Your lispy
Ben
friend.
Whitrock.
Your lispy friend, god damn it. The one you went on a whole fucking
Sarah
tangent.
Paulson.
Yeah.
Sarah Paulson.
Oubliette goes on this whole tangent about how she hates this lispy bitch and forgets about her.
Her name was Sarah Paulson.
But it's not like a full lisp. It's more
It's
like
thespian.
no. It's just I'm so enraged right now, and I can't even place how I'm feeling, guys.
That was pretty good.
You did. You did. You did good. It's funny though that your
Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
It's like
It's like a lazy tongue, not
It's like-
fully a
it's
lisp,
like-
but just like, you know,
It's like
I'm
a
very
light-
PC.
a light Drew Barrymore.
Yeah, kind of.
Actually, yeah, like
Like
kind
you
of the
can take
lazy
a little
mouth.
off of it. Yeah,
Yeah.
take
Slight
a little
lisp.
bit off it. Yeah. That's funny.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's perfect. I never thought about that.
it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
If
I
we
do, in
if we would
fact.
give somebody guidance into
Describing
sound
that.
like
Yeah, to
her.
do the Paulson. Yeah.
go side lip Drew Barrymore, slightly
Right.
lisp, and just a little bit more concerned than happy. And then you're like in between there. So if you get a little happier, then you're Drew Barrymore.
Right. Oh shit. Well, it's funny that your horror news leads right into mine because
Oh,
yeah, speaking of
we
witches,
didn't even plan this, people.
we did not plan this. So the new trailer
love segues.
for Witchboard dropped. And Witchboard,
Really?
yeah.
Like the remake?
yes.
Hmm.
Exactly. And it's shitty. You know, this goes right into a fucking what chap screaming his ass segment too. What's funny is the director is the director from Dream Warriors and The Blob, Chuck Russell.
Really?
Right. And I'm like, dude, that movie was kind of around the time you made those movies.
Right.
So what are you doing? First of all, and then I watched it and it has nothing to do with the original movie. I'm not going to even bother reading like the synopsis. People could just go watch the trailer, but it ends up having to do with witches, like actual witches. And it's like, and someone's nefarious, fucking plans and ploy or whatever. And I'm just like, God damn it. This is why studios don't want to pay writers anything. And they're just like, we're just going to put it in some AI shit and let that shit out some garbage fucking script that people will just go see because they want horror movies. I'm just like, man, come on. So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm sure some people that are all like, the toxic, positive group of the horror community will be like, oh my God, this is fucking awesome. But like,
Mm-mm.
no. You don't need to stop doing this, Hollywood. Like, what the fuck? You don't need to keep remaking these movies, especially if you're just going to change the whole fucking thing
Right.
about the movie and just slap
You don't
on
have
the
to call
fucking...
it.
Right.
You don't have to call it, Evil Dead when it's not
Well-
about the same shit. That's cool.
Wrong Turn, they did that, and I won't say how I felt because I want to do that one.
Right. And I'm not saying, a broken clock can't be right twice a day, but it's just like, Jesus Christ, these last, I don't know, 7 to 10 years, it's been like remake after remake after remake after remake. And it's,
Yeah,
dude,
that's definitely the move.
I'm tired, boss.
Yeah.
And
Well,
then,
speaking of some fresh blood content,
ooh,
I do have some horror news. I forgot. I know this is an audio podcast, but for this visual representation,
yeah, buddy.
I got the Kill Her Goats collector's edition metal tin with
yeah.
all the goodies
Steelbook,
on
baby.
the inside. Oh my goodness. Look, I got digital, I got all this fancy cool cards, and 100% this is much better than the movie itself.
We will reserve our judgment until we do that episode, but yes, you're right. Yeah.
I was so excited when I got it. I was like, oh my God, I'm going to watch this movie. And yeah,
I mean, at least the packaging is cool.
that's where my excitement ended.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No body is safe.
That's right.
Thank you.
Before we end horror news, did anyone else see the trailer for The Exorcist Believer?
Yes.
I didn't watch the trailer, but I just saw some photos.
All right. Now, okay, let me just say this is another chapping ass thing. It didn't need to be remade. It's not that it looks bad, but it's like, all right, I get what they're trying to do. They're trying to kind of do the whole thing that Halloween did with bringing back Chris McNeil.
Yeah.
What's her name? Ellen. Is it Ellen Bernstein? Yeah. To reprise that role, which is cool. And it's a cool angle because they got like a whole Ebony and Ivory kind of gimmick going with the two girls. And it's like, all right, that's like a different angle than just remaking it and having the same thing, or it's a sequel. But God damn it, come on. Like, do we need it?
We don't.
Do we want it? No. We don't. But yeah, I don't know. I've like that day it dropped, it was everywhere. Everyone's like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And I'm like, holy fuck, calm down. Like, it's gonna, it might not suck. It might be all right, but it still goes back to like we were talking about with the Pope's Exorcist. Is like,
Oh yeah, I watched that.
sure, it kind of had like a different storyline in it, but it all falls back to like the same, like verbatim, the same tropes of like, all right, it's going to carve some shit in the kid. The kid's going to say some vulgar stuff. And then, you know, it just ends up being like the same movie, not as good.
Yeah.
It's called the Your Mother Sucks Dicks in Hell effect.
Seriously.
And we're tired of it. We are tired of it. You
And
either
frankly,
need to
so
up
is your
fucking
mom.
game or just change it.
Right.
But either way, it's the same shit
killed
regurgitated
me.
over and over.
Right.
That's what she said.
Yes.
Exactly.
That is, in fact, what she said.
Yeah.
All right. So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm sure we'll all see it, but we'll probably all be back here complaining about it. Anyway, yeah, Witchboard will be out in 2024. So see how that goes. Anybody else got anything else to say? No.
We can. Mm-mm.
All right. All right. Well, that's been Horror News. All right, Oubliette, go ahead with what you wanted to discuss before.
So, if any of you guys listened to our last episode, you may have heard me say something